Hello happy souls, welcome back to my channel. This is Charlotte with Happy Twins 1111. My beautiful friends, I have an exciting new backdrop for you today. I don't know why, I just felt like a bit of a change, and I love arranging my crystals for you. I hope you like them. I think they look really pretty. I'm really chuffed with it. Anyway, I have your favourite reading to you today. Everyone loves these readings. How is your person feeling and thinking about you? What is going on inside their head and in their heart? We want to know how they're feeling about you, about this connection, about what's happening between you. We're going to get all the details. This is going to be a nice, juicy, in-depth reading, and there will be an extended for you. We're going to look at the oracle cards, we're going to look at the message cards, and we're definitely going to look at the charms as well. But first, you need to pick a pile. I have 3 piles for you today. Pile number 1 is the Sakki Tarot with this beautiful piece of Amethyst. Pile number 2 is the Magic Tarot with this lovely piece of Larimar. And pile number 3 is the Holly Simple Tarot with Mangano Calcite. Take your time choosing. You may be drawn to more than one pile, and that just means there's messages in more than one pile for you. You can find the timestamps for each pile in the description box below, and they're also in the comments. That means you can shoot straight to the pile you want to watch, and I will see you there. Hello pile 1, welcome to your reading. You have chosen the Sakki Tarot with this lovely piece of Amethyst, and we are asking today, how is your person thinking or feeling about you and this connection? What's going on in their heart and in their head? We're going to pull lots of oracle cards. We're going to get some charms for you guys as well. Remember, these are timeless readings, so make sure you make a note in the comments of which pile you've watched, because YouTube will undoubtedly draw you back to the videos that you need to watch at a later date. You've probably noticed already that they spit out recommendations of really old readings for you, and usually the timing is just spot on. I love those beautiful synchronicities. But if you've made a note in the comments of which pile you've watched already, you'll know not to go over old ground. And also, I always like to ask before my readings, ask the universe for a sign. Take a deep breath, hold in mind the person you're inquiring about, and ask the universe for a very specific sign. It could be an animal, a symbol, a song name, a phrase, a series of numbers, an object, anything at all. And this just gives the universe some space to help you trust and believe in the messages that come forward. It helps to validate and anchor some truth in these readings for you. Now remember, they are general readings, so it might be the case that not every single detail resonates for you, and that's okay. Please take what does and leave what doesn't. Don't try and make it fit for you. I get a lot of people say, oh, you know, this wasn't accurate for me, and that's okay. You know, many thousands of people watch these readings. It's not going to be for everyone, but I really hope that the right message that you need to hear today finds you in this pile. If it doesn't resonate, you can of course choose another pile. There will be an extended reading today as well, so if this does resonate, you can find the link to that in the description box below. Okay, I hope you've asked for your sign. Holding your person in mind, let's do this. Pile 1, how is your person thinking and feeling about you? What do you need to know about that? And we have got the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. We've got the 6 of Cups. We've got the 7 of Wands in reverse. And we've got the Knight of Wands. We've got the 8 of Wands. The 2 of Pentacles in reverse. The 2 of Swords. And the 5 of Cups in reverse. I'm going to get some oracle cards out now. We're going to pull more as we go, but I just want to get out what fits on the desk to begin with. I hope you like my new backdrop. I just fancied something different. We have got the polar bear and bison energy. So that's ancestors and ritual. From the Moonology Oracle deck, we've got Be Bold and Make the First Move. And we have got the Void of Course Moon. Nothing will come of this situation. Please don't be disheartened by that. We'll read it with the other cards as we go. And from the Music Oracle, we've got James Brown. And we've got Nick Cave. And finally, from the Energy Oracle, we have got the World, hostilities, and man holding a heart. Okay. Right. I don't know why I feel I need to make them neat. It just makes me feel better. Okay. Pile 1, how is your person thinking and feeling about you? It does feel like there's been a major bust up between you, and there is a tremendous amount of indecision in these energies. This is someone that's back and forward, and I feel like you two have had such an up and down relationship. You swing from one extreme to the other. I love you, I hate you. You know, this is the I can't live with you, can't live without you energy. And it does feel like there is this very powerful energy here of connection, of magnetism that keeps pulling you back, keeps pulling you round and round in circles. It feels like you leave each other in such dramatic circumstances and then you come crashing back together again. All is forgiven. This is a very passionate, intense relationship, but there is so much seething resentment bubbling beneath the surface that never seems to get resolved. I'm really drawn to the message in this James Brown card. It says, knock 'em dead, then leave. Don't quit moving until it's payback time. When you're ready to get on up, it's time to get down. And for me, this really sums up the energies of this connection. You know, it's like you get together, it's explosive, it's beautiful, and then it's explosively hostile. And then, you know, there's all of this vengeance. I feel like you've both cheated on each other. You try and make each other jealous. You know, there's definitely a lot of spite and bitterness here in the way you both lash out with one another when you're hurting. And yet it just seems all to be forgotten when you come back together and remember how much you love each other. Now, you know, for sure this isn't a healthy dynamic, but your person can't let you go any more than you can let them go. There is definitely a soul connection here. It does feel like you're learning some important lessons together. And, you know, I'm guided to remind you that we will keep cycling through the same lessons until we learn them. So if you're finding yourself going around in circles with this person, it's because you've not neither of you have yet learned a valuable lesson that you need to about love, about life, about relationships. But this person knows that this relationship isn't over. I think it's never over. It always feels like it. It may feel like the end of the world, you know, when you actually break up. But in truth, you know, it always comes rushing back to you fairly quickly. And, you know, we have this past life energy, again, with this ancestors and ritual energy of the polar bear and this 6 of cups, which is connected to past lives, soulmates, nostalgia, and this 2 of pentacles. There is something out of balance in your soul's timeline that both of you, you know, are here to learn and resolve between you. Your person does love you very, very much. You know, there is definitely a powerful magnetism, but neither of you knows how to treat one another respectfully. You know, for sure this man holds your heart. And I say this man, it could be a woman in your case, but we've got man holding a heart here. So at least divine and masculine energy, that very controlling, leading energy here, the dominant energy. So whether you're a man or a woman or whatever your situation is gender wise, this is a divine masculine energy that's holding a heart. And I do feel there's an energy of confidence about this. It feels like this person knows they can come and go. And they do see that you don't have very healthy boundaries. And herein I feel like lies the issue, is that you don't have very healthy boundaries and you try and enforce them with assertiveness, with rage, with anger. And you wonder why, you know, this person never seems to listen. It's because they know that even if they don't make a decision to commit or to uphold your requests or boundaries, you will still be there. You know, you have taught them that they can come in and do what they want and go again, and you will still be there to welcome them back with open arms. That seems to have been the pattern for you two. And this person is definitely avoidant. This is a commitment phobe. We've got this Knight of Wands energy. This is someone that doesn't take life seriously, doesn't take love seriously, doesn't take themselves seriously. Least of all you. You mustn't take it personally that this person seems to run roughshod over you, because this person runs roughshod over life. This feels like a very unpredictable person that's had a very dysfunctional upbringing, and their attitude is honestly, I don't give a you know what. I don't want to swear, but you know what I mean. They just do not care about you, about anything. This is a sort of person that takes really silly risks. There definitely feels like the energy of addiction here, and it may not be an addiction to a substance, but for sure it's an addiction to distracting, unproductive, unhelpful behaviours and situations. Now, in truth, with this Five of Cups in reverse, this person does feel the pain of your absence. It hurts them when you are not in their zone of awareness, but they struggle to admit that to themselves. And because you two never stay apart long enough for, any real deep reflection to take place, they've not really had to go through that grieving period of loss. They've not really had to readjust themselves to try and get this relationship back on track. It just feels like you take them back every time, even though they're not, serving what you believe you deserve and need. There's a quote by Maya Angelou that says, we've got to learn to stop sitting down at the table where respect isn't being served. If you keep showing up for the meal, you're going to keep getting more of the same. If it tastes like shit and it feels like shit, don't sit down at the table. It's really simple. And I don't mean to be so blunt with you, but it does feel like this person has very much taken advantage of your very loose boundaries. They know you have loose boundaries. This is how they see you. And as I said, this allows them to be indecisive. It allows them to continue without making change. And yes, there is passion and there is love here, but this person isn't equipped to have a healthy relationship. Now, this be bold, make the first move. For me, this is making the first move towards something healthier and more productive. And this requires you to unblock this Seven of Wands energy and say, listen, I love you, I care about you, but I cannot abide or tolerate this situation and, the slack boundaries that have presented anymore. It requires you to stand up for yourself. And again, real strength isn't being assertive. It's not ranting and raving. It's not shouting and getting in their face and threatening them. I will never speak to you again. We are over for good if you keep doing this to me. Those kind of conversations are empty, hollow threats. And this person knows it because you've said it before. You've said it before. And so because you don't follow through, they know that when they feel that magnetic pull towards you, when they need your love and your passion, that they can just come trotting back in and you will just open the door for them. Okay? And you've really got to break that cycle. And this is why it says nothing will come of this situation. So long as you keep continuing in this particular cycle, nothing is going to come of it. You're just going to go round and round and round until one of you breaks that pattern. And again, it's almost become a ritual for you two. It's that predictable, that you're just going round and round in circles. And this is a number 35 card, which actually reduces to number 8. That cyclic number, the number of infinity. It goes on and on and on. And again, with this polar bear energy, this is connected to your ancestry. You guys have shared lifetimes many times before. And so a lot of the triggers and the difficult energies that present aren't even of this lifetime. A lot of the harsh, hostile energies, bitterness, this is connected to lifetimes that go way, way back. I'm hearing connected to a truth which was never revealed. I feel like this person does struggle to communicate at a romantic level, even though they feel all of this love for you, and they do feel love for you. There's a great deal of emotion in the Six of Cups and this beautiful energy of familiarity, feeling like they've always known you and that, your family, you're part of them, whether you're together or not. There's this deep, deep friendship and lasting bond between you. However, This person is very disconnected from their emotional self. I want to draw to your attention how there are no cups here apart from this card. This person is very much concerned with the physical aspects of this relationships. They express themselves sexually. That's how they allow themselves to be intimate with you. But they're very disconnected from their own thoughts and their own truth. This person spends most of their time with other people in situations that distract them from their own head. And so, they don't like to dwell on things. They don't like to try and figure things out or work through things. They continue just crashing through life, trying to feel good, doing whatever they're doing in the present. This is someone that if they do get into that very heavy, low or depressive energy, they will squirrel themselves away and you will never see that. This is someone that tends to hide themselves from the world and only shows up when they're ready to party and be the comedian and get involved. Now, Nick Cave, be sure to be the last guest at the cannibal's dinner party. Embrace your limitations to become a wonderful disaster. Waiting for inspiration is just waiting. This is reminding you, that you mustn't make yourself a victim. You've got to recognize the limitations that exist presently in this connection, and you need to learn to detach yourself from it. You're waiting for a change to happen, but you're going to keep waiting unless you actually make that change. And I understand you don't know how to move forward with this. You don't know how to let this person go because it feels like such a magnetic pull that you just feel so helpless. And they hold your heart. It's like you're entrapped by their essence, by their energy. Like you just can't let go, no matter how badly they seem to treat you or how toxic the energy seems to be between you. You just can't let go, but you must. It doesn't mean you're not going to come back together, but it does mean that the situation in its current guise, its current energy, and the way you presently both interact isn't working. You're going round in circles and you're just hurting each other. There's no bridges being built here, and there is definitely no work being done to understand the root cause of all of this hostility and the ups and downs. Your person isn't capable of that. They don't have the emotional awareness or maturity to have those conversations or to see this relationship or to see life as you see it. You are growing and you're evolving in a way that they cannot and don't want to right now. This person just wants to have fun. They want to keep partying. They want to keep, busy. And they want to think about anything but trauma. And this person's had trauma. As I said, this person's come from a really dysfunctional background where, keeping busy was just the coping mechanism du jour. Pretend it's not happening. Get on with life. Have fun. Laugh. Live. Party. But don't look at all the crap. That's too painful. That's too hard. And they do feel out of control with that anyway, like they can't change it. What's really interesting about this is that this person is actually quite, even though they're detached from themselves, there is this energy of presence here. This person knows how to be in the now. It's at the expense of avoiding the things that they really need to address, but they really do know how to ignore all of the deep, unpleasant emotion and trauma that circles round in their heads. They're very, very good at avoiding that grief and just staying in the moment and just trying to be light-hearted, fun, not serious. It feels like lovable rogue energy. I do think both of you can get nasty with one another, but this person's also fun. It feels like they make you laugh more than anyone else, and they love you so much. They really do. They might be holding your heart, but see, he's got this little heart imprint on his knee. I do feel this person is, very disconnected from their own heart space, but you have somehow penetrated it. It's like there's this seed that you've implanted in them and it is slowly growing, but they are very resistant to any kind of attachment because they don't believe in the longevity of love. They don't believe that love can be happy and lovely. But you do complete each other. Such frustrating energies, because I feel like when you two are together and it's working, it's just like magic. And when you're not together because it hasn't been working, it's like the worst thing in the world. And you both turn into these very angry, hateful people towards one another. You say such hateful things. And it's really, really hard. Right, I'm going to get some of these message cards for you as well. These are cards that I've written on myself, just blanks. Let's see what's coming up for you here. Hold on, I've just dropped some. Okay, let's get some of these. Right, so we've got, I wish I could make it up to you. You are too good for me. I love you, I always have. And you are so magnetic to me. And I do feel like this person recognises, that you do deserve more than they can offer. They see the romantic movies. They understand what ideal, happy love looks like. But this person's kind of decided that that's not who they are, and it's probably not who they're ever going to be. That's the kind of life that other people have in their view. And so even though they love you and they feel this magnetism, they also feel torn that they can never really live up to your expectations. That, you want a home, you want a partner who's going to work with you equally to build a life together, maybe even a family. And this person just doesn't see, themselves in that energy. I can't forgive myself for how I treated you. You are way out of my league. We don't need to rush. It's safe to take it slow. And I still don't know what I want. I'm care, but I'm confused. And I think they're being really sincere when they say this. This person knows that they haven't treated you in the way that you deserve. They see that you're on this pedestal and that they are punching well above their weight. You are out of their league. This person, I feel, thinks they're being cruel to be kind when they push you away. And quite often they push you away because they think that's the best thing for you. They think, if I push her away, then there's an opportunity for them to meet someone that's going to value them, that's going to give them what they want, that's going to give them the love and care in a way that I don't know how to. And this is why they're always putting the brakes on. But they can't stay away. I don't know what I want. I care, but I'm so confused. At the moment they just feel this strong resistance to a committed, serious relationship, and yet when they try and move away from you and let go of you, they just find themselves being pulled back. So I really think, pile one, I'm going to get some guidance cards to you as well, but the energies here are asking you to take responsibility for your own happiness. They're highlighting that this relationship is probably going to continue to go round in circles unless you make a change. Let's see what that change is. I'm going to get some guidance cards for you before I take this over to the extended reading. In the extended, we're going to take a deeper look, get some more messages from your person. Let's see. So 10 of Cups, Page of Wands, 8 of Pentacles in reverse, and the 7 of Pentacles. So, for guidance, this is asking you to trust. This is the 10 of Cups. It's asking you to trust in true love. But it's also, with this Page of Wands, asking you to go out and find it. This is the card of playing, of dating, of getting out in the world and enjoying other people's company, having fun, being sociable. You've got to accept that this connection isn't working right now, and it can't work in its present energies. You need to invest in yourself. And you need to invest in your own future. The 7 of Pentacles is about planting that seed and waiting for it to grow. Remember I was saying it feels like you've planted a seed in your person. I do think that will eventually come to fruition. This person will grow up. There will be a moment of divine intervention that creates that change within them. But it's not your responsibility to do that. You're being asked to look at your own path and to move forward for the highest good of yourself. The 8 of Pentacles in reverse is a very clear message that this isn't working right now, and that if you want to step towards true love, you need to step into new possibilities. You need to open the door for new opportunities. Stop restricting yourself. Stop tying yourself down to someone that isn't prepared, to sit with you through that. You're just inhibiting yourself from going after what you want. And it could well be that leaving this person and really leaving them, is what gives them the impetus to start, repairing themselves and making changes in their life. But at the moment that's not happening, and at the moment they know that no matter your blackmail, your threats, your suggestions of, you know, if you don't do this, if you do that again, I'm off, or whatever it is you're saying to them, it hasn't worked. These are empty threats, hollow threats. They know that. So, you know, I know it's harsh for you to hear this, and there is real, genuine love in this connection. But right now, it's not good for your soul. Right now, you're being asked to learn to respect and value yourself and to choose something healthier. It's only when you demand that for yourself that other people are really going to start respecting that boundary. And this person is in no place to do that right now. As I said, your boundaries are too slack. That, you know, you really need to have a break so that you can rediscover the truth of who you are and be accountable for how bad this situation has got, because you've let it escalate. And now you've got to turn around and you've got to walk in the opposite direction and really figure yourself out. You do deserve so much more than this. But if you stay in this situation, you're going to continue banging your head against the same brick wall. And you know, this person may hold your heart, but if you were holding your heart, he wouldn't have been able to take it from you in the first place. And so, you know, with all of my readings, it's always about, you know, returning to self-love, recognizing that when you love yourself, you are empowered to make healthier decisions in love. Because if someone else's love doesn't measure up to the love you can give yourself, you won't want it. You know, these people that mess you around will no longer be an attractive prospect because you have enough love in you. If they can't match up to what you can give yourself, you know, you won't be interested. But you've got to learn to give it to yourself and trust that real love is out there for you. Again, it may be with this person, but it's certainly not with them now. You need to move away for now and to find who you are. So I'm going to take this over to the extended now. We're going to dig a bit deeper. We're going to get more messages from this person. I really want to understand how you can best support one another through the next step in your connection, because it does feel like you may not be talking or communicating at the moment anyway. So, you know, there's already an opening for you to start creating change. But hopefully I'll see you over there. If not, thank you so much for tuning into my reading today. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please do let me know down in the comments how it resonated for you. I love to hear your feedback. And if you did enjoy it, tap the like button. That's such a wonderful energy exchange for me. And thank you as well to those of you that watch one of my commercials. That really does help to keep my channel ticking over. And it's such a generous energy exchange. I really appreciate your time. So thank you so much for those of you that do that. And if you want to see more content like this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, tap the bell icon, and you will get a notification every time I post. Lots of love and see you next time. Bye. Hello, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading. You have chosen the Magic Tarot and this lovely piece of Larimar. And we're going to give these a really good shuffle for you. And we're asking today, how does your person feel and think about you and this connection? What's going on in their heart? What is going on in their heads? Now, these are timeless readings, so make sure you make a note in the comments of which pile you've chosen today. As you've probably noticed by now, YouTube loves to pluck these old readings out of the ether for you. It's seemingly at exactly the moment when you need them the most. So you may be drawn back to this very same video. And if you've made a note of which pile you've watched, you'll know not to go over old ground. And I also want you to ask the universe for a sign. You know, take a deep breath and say to yourself, you know, who you're inquiring about, whose energy you want to read into with this situation, and ask the universe for a sign that's going to help you validate and anchor those messages. It could be an animal, an object, a place, a song name, a specific word or name, or a series of numbers, whatever works for you. I just think it's a lovely way to give the universe an opportunity and space to show you the magic is real, to validate the messages you are hearing. Now, I don't read with reversals in this deck because, as you can see, the backs of this deck aren't reversible, but we've given them a really solid shuffle. And I am going to use lots of oracle cards today. We're going to get the charms out. We're going to have a really in-depth, meaty reading to understand what's going on in your person's heart and mind. And there is an extended reading too, if this resonates. Right, pile 1, let's do this. How is your person thinking and feeling about you and this connection? We have got the Fool, the 7 of Swords, Judgment, and Temperance. So some very big energies here. Three of Wands, the Five of Swords, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Empress. My goodness. So in tarot, there's 21 cards which we refer to as the major arcana, or these are known as the big secrets. And the minor arcana, which is the pips, like the numbers, they're called the little secrets. But when there's lots of major cards, which we have here, the Fool, Judgment, Temperance, and the Empress, you know, this is a big deal. That's what that's telling us. These are really big energies that we've got here. I'm going to get some oracle cards out as well. We will pull more as we go, but I quite like to get an idea of the whole picture. Get all these cards out in the beginning. Wow, we've got the polar bear. That also came out for pile 1. And we have got the peregrine falcon. That's observation and ancestors. And from the Moonology deck, we've got take time out to breathe, disseminating moon. And we've got prosperity lies ahead, new moon in Taurus. From the Music Oracle, we have got Jimi Hendrix and PJ Harvey. Most of you probably won't remember her, but I remember her as a 90s icon in my youth. I think she's British, so probably not an obvious one for the American crowd. Okay. And from the Energy Oracle, we've got the 6th chakra, Archangel Metatron, appreciation, and the garden and the gate. Now, what is really interesting to me about these energies is that this person, I feel, really wants to come towards you, but they have hurt you really, really badly. It may have been a long time since you actually communicated or anything tangible happened in your connection. You know, I do feel here the energies of separation, deceit and betrayal. This person left you and it feels like they really hurt you. And yet, as a result of this time out, you know, this time they've had to breathe and to disseminate and to really think about what's happened, you know, this person's now returning their focus back onto the connection and what you two had together. You know, they're feeling this newfound appreciation for what was. They are seeing you in a new light and they needed that time out, you know. But this feels like a really grand revelation for them. With this 6th chakra, Archangel Metatron, you know, this is someone that's, you know, really feeling the power, the intuition and the soulful nature of this connection. They are waking up and realizing that they have made an almighty error in letting you go. There is such a deep sense of familiarity and past life connection between you two. There is no doubt that you have shared many lifetimes together. I feel that very strongly. And this polar bear energy is ancestors, but this peregrine falcon as well, observation and appreciation. You know, this person's watching you very carefully. You know, this does feel like divine intervention. They've started dreaming about you. They can't stop thinking about you. They are watching you like a hawk. And they're thinking about when to make their move. They want to take a leap of faith. They want to move this relationship towards fulfillment. But there's so much fear because this person betrayed you. You know, there was so much conflict and hurt and pain as a result of their behaviours and the way the interactions, you know, went between you. But it does feel like this person is trying to build a life for themselves that you can be proud of. They're aware of your judgment and they want to prove you wrong. This is the energy of like them saying the old me is dead. You know, I have been reborn. I have changed. You know, I want us to now have a happy, harmonious and balanced relationship. You know, I want this to work out. I want to work hard for you. I want to be the person that you deserve. We've got Temperance and the Empress here, you know, and I think this really highlights how much harmony they feel in this connection. They see you as this otherworldly person that's worked so hard to rebuild themselves. And, you know, for them to see someone so crushed, to see someone hit rock bottom so hard and then to rise like a phoenix and just become this absolute whirlwind of power, force, energy and success that you have become. They are absolutely awe-inspired by this transformation in you, and you have inspired them, pardon me, you have inspired them to transform themselves, to learn to take care of themselves. You know, they're seeing that you don't need them, but they want you to want them. You know, they're recognizing all of your power and force. My throat is suddenly really tickling. Now, I'm very empathic when it comes to things like this. When I'm reading, if my throat chakra starts to tickle, I really see this as a throat chakra blockage, and I'm really drawn now to how much blue presents in this reading and where it presents and how it's connected to their truth and their reluctance or fear around communicating that. You know, this person is so scared to come forward because it feels like at the moment when they're admiring you from afar, you know, they've got this beautiful fantasy of that they're working towards of how this could be. But the minute they, you know, draw that fantasy into reality by taking a step towards you and inviting you into that dream, you know, can we try again? Can we, you know, start over? That's when the fear creeps in. That's when they think, well, hold on a minute. You know, it can feel really nice just to indulge the fantasy rather than face the reality of potential rejection. And I do think they feel that you reject them. You seem so accessible. We've got this garden and the gate. You know, this for me feels like, again, this divine feminine energy, someone who's very comfortable in their own domain, in their own space, you know, that isn't looking to really win anything to enhance their current world or life. It feels like this person, you the viewer, you know, has found a peace and comfort and success and stability in your world. I feel like the garden, it's showing up twice here for you. And so, you know, this might be, you know, your pull towards Mother Earth and maybe even shamanistic practices. I do feel like you find a lot of peace outdoors and in nature, but they are just appreciating how much you've grown and very much regretting having let you go. With Jimi Hendrix here, what only losers stay in tune. If you live in a room full of mirrors, all you will see is yourself. Technology is a tool, but it will never set you free. I'm really trying to feel into the energy of this. Only losers stay in tune. You know, that's reminding you that it's okay to make mistakes, to recognize that you are not infallible. If you live in a room full of mirrors, you will only see yourself. And I feel that's where you've been, viewer. You've been focused on yourself, focused on growing your own garden. You know, garden is a beautiful metaphor for life. The seasons that the garden moves through is exactly what happens to us human beings. And we're in winter right now. Winter's such a fascinating energy to experience as a person, because if you think about winter, everything dies. It seemingly disappears or vanishes. But that flower, you know, it returns next year, it blooms again. And even though it's not the same flower, it has the same energy and essence. It's born from the same truth. And I feel like that's what happens to us. You know, we go into this period of withdrawal, of hibernation, where we appear to die and are reborn again as something new. This person doesn't really recognize who you are. You have transformed that much, but they are appreciating who you are. It feels like you may have withdrawn and been somewhat hermity. I'm feeling their frustration that you haven't posted on social media and they can't keep track of you in the way that they would like. It says here as well with PJ Harvey, when in doubt, swim to new ground. Jam with others, but remain the lead and redream past lives. And for me, you know, this is asking you to expand your horizons, to open that gate and to take a step out. You know, you can still remain in charge and you know, lead in your life. But when it says redream past lives, you know, that is asking you to perhaps consider that, how it was before can be different this time. To redream it suggests to reinvent it, reimagine it, allow it to transform into something new. So maybe you do need to give this person an opportunity. As I said, it definitely feels like there was betrayal, deceit, hostility, and an enormous amount of conflict here, which caused you two to become separated or to part on really ill-dignified terms. So I want to get some messages from your person as well that perhaps can explain or reassure that energy. These are blanks, message cards that I've written on myself. I wish I could make it up to you. Yeah, so they know that they have done wrong. I have unhealthy habits and addictions. I'm not ready to face them. I am so sorry I let you down. Once burned, twice shy. So bearing in mind we're asking about this past deceit, I feel like this person did have unhealthy habits and addictions, and I think part of this was an addiction to love and romance, an addiction to the attention or sexual intimacy, an addiction to company, an addiction to being wanted. This person, I think, was very much in that player energy previously because that's how they validated themselves. But they do understand that they've done wrong. They want to make this up to you. I'm sorry I've let you down. And, they were in this very avoidant energy. I feel like it's been a really long time since you two split up and since this has happened. A lot of time has elapsed and you have both changed and grown. And this person has changed. I feel like they've definitely released these habits and addictions. They weren't ready to face them then, but it feels like they have now. And they were in this avoidant energy of being afraid to get close to people. And so, these very casual relationships allowed them to enjoy intimacy without putting their hearts at risk. But this person just wants to provide and protect you now. We've got this new moon in Taurus, which is such a stable and prosperous energy. It's a very nurturing, protective, stable energy that this person wants to come in and provide. What else do they want to say to you? We have very different values in life and love. I'm sad at the way things turned out. I wish it was different. I wish I didn't have to be me anymore. And I can't see my own bullshit. So I do think that, the things you wanted at that stage in your life were different. You had a different perception of what life and love was, and this person really wishes they could wind back the clock. And it's like you're being asked to do here, redream a past life. This person had no self-worth. They were deeply insecure. They were running from who they were. They didn't want to be themselves anymore. And so it was very hard for them, to smell their own shit, to recognise the pain they were inflicting and the problems they were causing. And it was self-sabotage. It was nothing short of self-sabotage, the way they treated you. Oh, I'm not sure if you want to hear from me or not. So, this person definitely wants to reach out. They're watching you. They may have recently added you on social media but not said anything, or made their presence felt. They may have liked a picture or something like that. But this person isn't sure if you will be receptive, to their communication. Listen to the words in the songs that explain how I'm feeling about you. So interesting how, despite this very fat pile of cards, a lot of these energies came out in pile one, although a very different situation in pile one. But for sure, listen to the words and songs that explain how I'm feeling about you. And I feel like the songs that you used to share and listen to have been stalking you on the radio, so you're going to know what songs they are. I may not tell you how I feel, but I am trying to show you. I think this really indicates how you two communicate in different love languages, and this may have been a struggle in your relationship before. I don't think you ever had any clue as to how this person felt about you, and I think they're saying, I'm not very good at expressing myself at an emotional level, but I demonstrate my love in the things I do for you, and I would really like the opportunity to do that. I'm not all the bad things you think I am. We are the same. Now, this suggests to me that actually maybe there was more of a kind of mirroring energy there in that dysfunction you had recognized at the time. I feel like now that you're looking this from the perspective of certainly more clarity and understanding with this sixth chakra energy, but also with more humility, with less ego, because you are healed, that you can perhaps see where that avoidant nature came from in them and recognize that it wasn't personal. It feels impossible, so I don't try. And again, this goes back to that feeling of that they're building in their mind this future with you. They're working hard to create, prosperity, stability, and this bright future. But actually taking the reins, taking that leap of faith, moving towards what they want is absolutely terrifying for this person. They're not sure if you want to hear from them. They don't know how you're going to respond. And the reality is for them that once they reach out and say, how are you? Can we meet? Can we go out? Can we see where this goes? It feels like there is no going back. Once they've got a no, it's like their heart is broken and their life becomes somewhat meaningless again. You are my best friend. No one soothes my soul like you can. And I'm hearing this is what they miss about you the most. They miss that beautiful, easy, familiar intimacy that you two shared. So I'm going to get some guidance cards and charms for you as well before we take this over to the extended reading. The extended reading, we're going to go deeper with the messages and deeper with the guidance, figure out what their intentions are, what's next. Let's get some of these. Oh, I want some more. Okay, this is a positive sign. Keep growing, keep going. Empower. We've got the little paper aeroplane. We've got this little tiny aunt charm. Dusk until dawn. The asthma pump. The writer, typewriter, and the pentacle. So I really feel like the tide has turned. The energy of this connection has dramatically changed because both of you have changed and grown. It does feel like there's been an awful long time between you in terms of communication, and it feels like you've probably not inquired about this person for a really long time, but more recently these songs are popping up. You may be dreaming about them again. They're kind of popping into your zone of awareness, and it may have been someone that you wrote off and you honestly thought you'd never hear from again, but I'm hearing that you never forgot them either. The auntie charm is really interesting. I'm hearing that this is perhaps what connects some of you, that maybe you have, I don't know, there's someone in the family unit that connects you both, this auntie energy. It doesn't need to be a real auntie. Auntie is often the term that we apply to more mature women that have that, we have a kind of maternal or really sentimental and supportive bond with. But it feels like there's a link here somehow. Or maybe that just connects with the sign that you've asked. It might mean something different to you than how I'm interpreting it. Trust your own instincts on that. But, you are divinely empowered now. It definitely feels like you are in your feminine power. But this person has kind of moved into their own awareness and power as well. They may not be as healed and as grown as you are, but this person definitely wants to write a new chapter with you. We've got two indicators here of messages. I do feel this person's going to reach out, probably in the written word. They're going to send you a message. The writer charm may be significant for you. Maybe both of you work as writers, or writing is a significant part of your role or job or how you interact. But you are on this person's mind day and night. They think of nothing else about you, and it gives them anxiety, thinking that maybe you won't want them back. Maybe, they've wasted all this time dreaming this new future with you. It says, take this time to breathe out. I feel like anxiety, worry and stress was always this person's greatest weakness. And that's one of the ways in which you really soothed their soul, brought them back down to earth. The pentacle is about protection and prosperity and abundance. And I really feel like, this is a divinely guided connection. There is a lot of stability and hope in the future here, even though it's not laid out in stone and it's not crystal clear where this is going for you. It does feel like you're being asked to open up to the potential of this connection, to re-dream the past. We've also got strength, which is beautiful. We've got the Eight of Swords. We've got the Ace of Cups and the Five of Cups. So for guidance, you know, strength for me is always about engaging your compassionate heart. You know, in the strength card, what we see is this woman holding open the mouth of the beast, not through force or aggression, but through her gentle, compassionate heart. The beast trusts her and then surrenders, you know, to her request. So this is really about being, you know, feeling into the heart space before you make any decisions. You know, even though it may feel risky, trusting that your heart is strong enough to identify a healthy connection when it presents now. You're being asked to release limiting beliefs and align with the truth. I'm really drawn how in this Seven of Swords, she's got this blue feather, you know, crowning her. And blue is the colour of truth. It's the colour of authenticity, communication. And the Eight of Swords asks you to release yourself from your own limiting thoughts. Remember that quite often our expectations or assumptions, they're not real. This came up in part 1, you know, that's just what if energy. And if you've got no evidence that that thought is real or that it's rooted in reality, you need to release it and stop dwelling on it. You need to focus instead the positive what ifs, which is that there is a new beginning in love here. It's not overflowing yet. You know, normally the Ace of Cups shows us this energy overflowing, this water spilling from the cup, but here it's just turbulent and it's purple, the colour of intuition, the colour of spiritual power, crowned here as well in truth. So it does feel like love is brewing, and I feel like you felt it. You've been trying to resist it, but you felt it because you were so heartbroken. But it's time to let go of that grief. You know, all of those broken promises are in the past, and it's time to redream the past lives, to create a new way forward, to imagine a new way of being. So maybe be open and receptive to this person when they reach out, you know, because their intentions are good and pure, and I do feel they have changed just as you have. So hopefully you'll join me over the extended. I'm going to take it there now. We're going to get some more messages from your person. We're going to get a bit more clearer on what their intentions are, what else you need to know about this connection, and how you move forward with it. So if this resonated for you, you can join me over there. The link is in the description box below and also in the comments by the timestamps. But otherwise, thank you anyway so much for tuning in, and thank you so much to those of you that watch my commercials. You are such sweet and generous treats. It's a beautiful energy exchange. I appreciate you giving your time to watch one of those adverts in full. It really does help to keep my channel going. So thank you so much. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you for being here and sharing this space with me. I learned so much from delivering these readings. I promise there's nuggets of wisdom in there that are meant for me too, and it's because I provide this service to you that I have access to that also. So thank you for sharing the love. I will see you next time, Pile 2. Take care. Bye. Hello, Pile 3. Welcome to your reading. You have chosen the Holly Simple Tarot with this lovely piece of pink Mangano calcite. And we are asking, how is your person thinking and feeling about you, about this connection? Perhaps you're in touch, perhaps you're not, who knows? Well, that was a really awful shuffle. But whilst I'm shuffling, just ask the universe to send you a sign. Think about the person you're inquiring about. And when I say ask for a sign, this could be anything. It could be a name, a place, a song name, an object, an animal, a phrase, anything you want. You know, we're asking the universe to provide just a sign that you can trust that this message was meant for you. It can be so validating when we do that. Take a deep breath, think, hold your person in mind, ask that sign. And also remember, these are timeless readings. So take a moment to just make a note in the comments of which pile you've chosen today, because YouTube will undoubtedly spit this video back out at a later date. You probably noticed that YouTube recommends really old videos, and sometimes it just feels very fated, because I don't know about you, but I find that they're always exactly the video I needed in that moment. But if you've made a note in the comments, you'll know which pile you've watched already. And all my videos are in a playlist. If you click on the playlist on my channel, you can find all the picker cards in one place. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to choose loads of oracle cards today. We're going to use charms as well and some message cards. How is your person thinking and feeling about you? Pile 3. What are the messages for you today? Let's have a look. Okay, we have got the Sun. What a beautiful start. We have got the Chariot. What's that? That's the Emperor in reverse. And the 3 of Cups in reverse. We've also got the 7 of Wands. The 4 of Swords in reverse. The 7 of Cups in reverse. And Judgment in reverse. I'm going to get some oracle cards out as well. I like to get everything out, see it all at once. This is the Divine Animals Oracle first. Okay, what have we got here? We've got the Gorilla and the Butterfly. And from the Moonology Oracle deck, a romantic cycle begins, a new romantic cycle. That's new moon in Libra. And you're very close to achieving your goal, the Gibbous moon. Excellent. And from the Music Oracle, we've got Debbie Harry, Blondie. Fools make their flesh for plastic. Fools mistake their flesh for plastic. We'll read all of that later. And Marvin Gaye. I love Marvin Gaye. Okay, and I think I'm going to get some of these energy oracle cards as well. Just move these up a bit and make room. Okay. Victory. Caring connections. And the Magician in the mirror. Okay. How is your person thinking and feeling about you? Pile 3. These are actually quite nice energies. There's something very wholesome about the energy of this connection, even though I feel such a great deal of trepidation and anxiety in these energies. But we've got this Sun. You know, this is such a warm energy for how someone feels. I feel like you have illuminated a kind of missing part of this person. It's like they feel more whole having met you. There's such a gentle, just loving, warm energy to this connection. And with this 7 of Wands, this person feels very inspired to protect and defend you, to defend this connection you have in. I feel like they really hold you in very high esteem. There's a lot of joyful, happy energies here. This person feels very driven to support you. And I feel like you have been through a really difficult time and they've been really supportive through that. This feels like, you know, someone that has really helped brighten your day, has been a very solid listener. But it does feel like it kind of went awry somewhere, and I'm hearing that there was a great deal of interference and miscommunication. Now, this person also, even though they're at heart, they're a very gentle soul, it does feel like they have quite a hard and toughened exterior. And so when they feel, you know, that they're at risk, when they feel threatened, and when that fear of rejection rises up to bite them, you know, they do find themselves behaving in, shall we say, less than favourable ways. We've got the Emperor here, which is someone that is maybe overly concerned with staying in control. And I think this is why this person's demeanour may have suddenly changed with you. You may be wondering, you know, this seemed like such a caring and loving connection. I was absolutely convinced this was the one, and then this person's gone cold on me and I simply don't understand what happened, what changed, I think you've probably questioned that there's a third party, and I feel that this has come up to say that is not the case. There is no third party here, although you may have accused this person of that. I genuinely don't think that that is the case. I feel like you needed to hear that today. Now, I feel like this person has pulled back because they started to feel unsafe. And it wasn't anything that you did wrong. It's really important that you know that as well. I feel like things just got so intimate and so close that this person got very, very scared. And, they started to feel out of control. They realised that their feelings, their emotions were running away with them. They hadn't felt anything so intense or as deep as this. And they were very, very triggered. And this caused them to pull back. Maybe this isn't what I want. This doesn't feel safe. This person's going to leave me eventually. Nothing this good happens to people like me. I feel like they have previously been engaged, not necessarily as in engaged to be married, but, in relationships where they were the much stronger counterpart, where they seemingly had more to offer. They may have picked people that seemed very fragile or weak or had less to offer, people that they weren't scared of losing, people who would have looked up to them, people who would have put them on a pedestal and seen them as very powerful, very in control. I think because the dynamic with you is so different and they no longer feel in control, it feels like they just couldn't cope with being on that back foot, and it almost feels like they were waiting for you to leave, and so they just went cold. This was about them taking back control, but this person does really care about you. I do get the energy of twin flame here quite strong, and we've got this Magician and the Mirror, and I do feel like unwittingly you are one another's greatest teachers. There is a lot of learning happening here, but there's also a lot of bitterness and cynicism off the back of them having left you out in the cold this way. As I said, I do feel that you assumed there must have been someone else, and I'm guided to categorically state that there was not, that your judgment was incorrect. And you may have accused them of that, and they've reacted very badly. They may have accused you of being needy, or like every other person they'd ever been in a relationship with, and it always goes wrong and it always goes awry. This person, I think, allowed their own cynical and broken heart to get the better of them, and it kind of extinguished all of that lovely warmth and happy feeling that was in this connection. We've got this gorilla energy as well. Now, the label on this card is peace, but I do feel again with this distorted masculine energy, this Emperor in reverse, that this was just someone that was trying to stay in control. They have to be the top dog. They've got to be the leader. They've got to be the one in charge. They've got to be the one that's running the show. And because they saw you as being, so independent, so powerful, so stable, someone that didn't really need them, both of you operating on perhaps a more even keel, or in their mind, you were much more successful and stable than them, and their ego just couldn't cope with this perceived threat. It didn't feel safe to be in a relationship with someone that might eventually wake up and realise you're not all that you were cracked up to be. And so it does feel like they thought, well, you're going to leave me eventually, so I'm going to do it first. And I know that's really sad, but I do feel like they've literally convinced themselves that this relationship was a terrible burden that was eventually going to cost them dearly. That you would take and take and take from them and all of this support and love, and you would eventually leave them out in the cold. But this person can't quite forget you. We've got the butterfly here, which is referred to as the soul in this card. And it just feels like no matter how much they try and close the door on their feelings for you, it keeps kind of swinging back open. And I feel like this is someone that previously hasn't struggled to move on from relationships. Once they've made up their mind, they've made up their mind, they move on and they don't look back. But it feels like with this Magician in the Mirror, again, their mind plays tricks on them. It's like they see you in crowds when you're not there. They hear your name wherever they go. Everything reminds them of you. And they look in the mirror and they kind of see you and hear you. You're in their dreams, you're in their thoughts. I do feel like this person is almost tortured or tormented by the memory and, of you. They can't quite let go. A new romantic cycle begins, new moon in Libra. You know, I do think this person is trying to bring their feelings back into balance. It feels like they've resisted it for so long, and they're now of this attitude, well, okay, I've tried to move on from this person. I've tried to close that door. It keeps swinging back open. I keep being reminded, you know, maybe I need to have another go at this. Maybe I need to try and, you know, make this work, because we've got this victory energy and this, you know, being very close to achieving your goal. And I do feel that they're now reflecting on this and perhaps recognizing that they reacted in haste. But I do think as well that they're not really aware of how hurtful they've been in leaving you out in the cold that way, or of how that even culminated, you know, how those circumstances even came to be. They're not really being accountable for their own fears and insecurities. They're not seeing it like that. I don't think this person's very good at looking at themselves. This is a sort of person that doesn't respond easily to criticism, even when it's really constructive or coming from a place of love and care. It feels like their ego is very, very fragile, and they really struggle to face their own weaknesses and to show humility in that respect. And I think this is quite a turn off for you. You know, I do feel like you're the sort of person that is, you know, very good at owning your own mistakes and recognizing your own weaknesses, and you see that as a strength. I feel like you have grown up in an environment where, you know, perhaps one of your caregivers was really not able to kind of apologize, to own their wrongdoing, or to really reflect on their own misgivings, and you found that a really ugly trait. So I feel like you're the kind of person that's gone out of their way, you know, to really be true to yourself and to know who you are, to really recognize the good, the bad, and the ugly in you. And so it has been a tremendous turn off for you to see this person, you know, not really taking ownership of their own stuff. But also I think you're compassionate enough to recognize that they're just not they're not aware. You know, they don't have the same awareness as you. They really are that insecure that looking at themselves in a cold, hard light is actually very painful. I do think that this did cause you to pull back slightly, and in that slight pulling back, this is when this person panicked and really rushed away from you. You know, you thought maybe you had more time to take it slowly and take it easy, but this person's used to people falling head over heels with them. They're used to the love bombing and having them exactly where they want them, and with you they never really felt like they could pin you down or get you to commit. And all you really wanted was time and space to get to know them and to explore it. But it feels like some alarm bells started to ring and there were red flags. And I do feel that you're hyper vigilant when it comes to narcissistic traits, because that's something you've grown up with. And honestly, I don't think this person is narcissistic. I mean, we all have narcissistic traits. We're all somewhere on the spectrum, but usually they're learned behaviours rather than a full-blown personality disorder. I do think this person has demonstrated some narcissistic behaviours, but again, you know, I think these are actually more connected to very low self-esteem, a great deal of insecurity and, you know, lack of self-worth, rather than a genuine and, you know, real or destructive personality disorder. It doesn't mean that these behaviours are any more acceptable. It just means that, you know, they're probably not insurmountable. These are things that this person can learn to transcend, but they do need to take a look at themselves first. And it feels like your energy asked them to do that, and they weren't ready. You know, they weren't ready to turn the lens or the light on themselves. They weren't ready to transform, perhaps in the way they would need to make this relationship real. And so I feel like, as I said, it's been some time since the relationship broke down, and they're now reflecting on it and kind of seeing some of the errors in their ways. And, you know, they do want to bring it back into balance. I feel like they want to look at it from a fresh perspective and learn from this, and they're open to doing that. But make no mistake, you know, this person still doesn't really have a great deal of awareness around what went wrong. And I feel like you are still somewhat cautious about entertaining them again. Fools mistake their flesh for plastic. It's not enough to be beautiful. You need to know how to be beautiful. Stay open to new things and you will never stagnate. I do think this person that you're inquiring about, as I said, is previously very much engaged with low-hanging fruit. You know, these are what I would describe as people who were quite desperate and who were always going to cling on to this person and treat them like an absolute god, because, you know, there was kind of, you know, this person may appear very powerful or successful. So they may have been attracted to that very shallow, you know, arm candy type energy. You know, fool's mistake flesh for plastic. Is really acknowledging that lust isn't real love. It's not enough to be beautiful. You need to know how to be beautiful. And I feel this is what has guided this person back to you. They're now recognizing how shallow their previous interactions were and how they're no longer fulfilled by those kind of lusty and shallow connections. And yet, I just feel this is why they can't quite shake it. It says here, don't fool around with something you cherish. There is madness in love, but also reason in madness. A selfless heart is all you need to get by. And so again, when I said you illuminated this missing part of them, I feel this is that kind of, that romantic soul that was kind of stirred and awakened by your presence. You know, they hadn't felt the truth of that statement about beauty being skin deep until they felt it in you. It's like you showed them a different kind of beauty, and they see how much you take care of others, you know, how altruistic you are in your approach to life. And I feel like this really inspired them to want to take care of you, because they see that no one does. You know, I think that they recognize that you were this person that always put themselves out there for others, but perhaps wasn't necessarily, you know, taken care of or you know, in receipt of the same level of care. And you really inspired that kind-hearted part of them. It was a little bit of a kind of rescue energy, and I think they were disappointed when they realized that actually you don't need rescuing. That you're quite strong, and perhaps even stronger than them, which is what they found so intimidating. So let's get some more cards. These are message cards that I've created myself. They're just blanks that I have written messages on. So what else does this person think and feel about you in the connection? What's at the heart of this? Once burned, twice shy. I can't forgive myself for how I treated you. Someone like you deserves so much more than someone like me. And I am ashamed of my sexual fear. I don't want this right now. I love that you see the best in people. Stop telling me how to behave. I'm a grown adult. I can't see my own bullshit. So, you know, again, that avoidant tendency. This person was hurt. I feel like their first love was particularly traumatic, and that there's also some very heavy energy here connected to their past. Not just relationships that are romantic, but relationships with friends and the family unit. Relationships that should have been loyal and steadfast that turned out not to be. And so this person's very unforgiving and very reluctant to trust. And this was why they kind of rejected you for the most part. It just didn't feel safe for them at that moment in time. But as I said, there's been so much reflection and change, and they just don't know how to kind of shift this energy that exists between you. You know, this feels like someone that's, you know, now looking back quite wistfully and wishing they'd done it differently. And it does say, I can't forgive myself for how I treated you. You know, because you didn't deserve that. They see how kind and loving and caring you are. It says here, I love that you see the best in people and that you saw the best in them. You really didn't see it coming, that they were just going to kind of coldly shut the door on you. I feel like that really hurt you a lot. You know, I think you thought that this person was capable of much more maturity, and it feels like they checked out without much of a conversation. And, you know, they are acknowledging someone like you deserves a lot more than someone like me, but they couldn't cope with that criticism. Stop telling me how to behave. I am a grown adult, and there's something so indignant about this particular complaint. You know, it's like a child stomping their feet. I don't need to tell you who, you know, how I am. I'm the big daddy here. I'm the man. And I think in truth, you weren't exactly telling them off or reprimanding them. You were just trying to encourage healthier communication and relations, but they took this very personally. As I said, this is someone that's very sensitive to criticism because their ego and their self-esteem is so very fragile. The sexual fear is really interesting. And I think as well, this is why they favoured very casual relationships where they didn't have to interact at a really intimate level. And it didn't matter if they didn't perform in an incredible way because they wouldn't have to see that person again. I feel like, a romantic and more intimate, committed relationship challenged them to open up in an emotional way. And this really impacted, how they were able to meet you physically and intimately, and that sexual fear I think is very real because it requires trust. Sex is very bonding, and we often assume that for masculine energy it's not so, but I feel that this person got so close to you that it did start to kind of impact how they felt about you at a physical level. And when all of that emotion came tumbling out, I feel like it created a lot of anxiety around how they felt. And so they may have become less physically interested, and you may have perceived this as a rejection or a lack of interest, whereas really, they were protecting themselves from rejection because of their fear of, not performing or of messing it up or of getting in too deep. But again, they can't see their own bullshit, And as I said, this is something that I think is particularly difficult for you to override because this connects to something that's very painful in your past. And it's it does feel like you have gone out of your way, as I said, to override those kind of energies, and you see it as a particularly ugly trait in others. So I feel that you were disappointed to find this out about this person, and yet part of you as well can't help but feel compassion and recognise the opportunity perhaps for them to evolve beyond that, which is why I think it was so disappointing for you when they actually just shut down and disappeared. They didn't face it head on. I really think you expected more of them. Your boundaries are not realistic or healthy. I try, but I cannot escape the thought of you. You say you want me and love me unconditionally, but you don't seem happy with who I am. How can you truly love and accept me if you cannot love and accept yourself? I will never give my heart away again. So, this is a very confused person. Your boundaries are not realistic or healthy. And I feel this is the kind of comment that would have triggered that idea of narcissism for you. This person perhaps invalidated your feelings when you dared complain or confront them with some constructive criticism. Their response was often to minimize or invalidate your feelings, to make out you're being very unreasonable. And I feel this is what this is about, that actually I feel like you had a much firmer and robust idea of what healthy boundaries look like, but this person, was unable to meet you halfway in that respect, and yet they just cannot forget you. I feel like it actually makes this person angry. This is a love-hate energy. On the one hand, they admire you a great deal. They've put you on this pedestal and they see you as this really beautiful and powerful person, but on the other hand, this really intimidates them. This also makes them feel like maybe, you're going to eventually realise that you're that much stronger and that much better than them, and they're asking as well, how can you truly love and accept me if you cannot love and accept yourself? And I feel this is a rhetorical question. This is them, asking this of themselves. There's a recognition of, I'm not as good as this person. They're going to realise that they can't love me if I don't love me. I don't feel that these are particularly twinny energies between you two, but there definitely seems to be a lot of determined learning about yourselves through these interactions. Again, once burned, twice shy. I will never give my heart away again. This person gets triggered and looks for reasons to validate their fear. And so that means they may have become unnecessarily nitpicking in your connection because they're really expecting the worst of you. And so they're then very much, projecting all of that fear onto you, reading between the lines and hearing things in your communication that really aren't there, such as this stuff. How can you truly love and accept me? You say you love me unconditionally, but you don't seem happy with who I am. And I don't think it was the case that you weren't happy with who they are, just that you recognize that relationships take work. They require compromise and sometimes difficult conversations. That doesn't mean you're not happy with who someone is. It just means that you're both committed to being your best selves for one another and for discussing and communicating that. But this person couldn't see that. They couldn't see their own dysfunction and their own pain. Now, let's get some guidance cards for you as well before we move this over to the extended. I want to get some charms as well. What's the guidance for you in this person? Okay, we have got the Crown. It's two people outside. We've got the Hello, I'm yours. We've got Black like my heart. We've got the police car. We've got the party sloth, which is a really, I don't know why that's not focusing. There we go. Really funny contradiction. And the bumblebee. So I'm going to get some guidance cards as well. But, you know, the Crown, again, you know, I do think that the energies of this connection have woken this person up, you know, to some harsh truths. They're not seeing it all. We've got the Sun there again. Again, you've awakened something in them. We've got Angel of Strength, Angel of Love, and Rest and Rejuvenation. So, as I said, this person has woken up to some truth. You've illuminated a missing part of this person, but there is a lot of guilt and shame. The police car might be a different sign for you guys, but for me, I'm reading this as guilt and shame. This person reflecting on the past and recognizing where they have gone wrong. I feel like this person has been very withdrawn and hermity as well, and you may have found a match in those energies, you know, withdrawing from social interactions, keeping yourself to yourself, you know, even when you're showing up at parties, just very much feeling like you don't belong there, don't want to be there. And I feel like this is how this person's kind of shifted too. The things that kind of brought them comfort and kept them distracted previously now feel so meaningless and empty, and they're realizing that you've got hold of their heart. And I think this both kind of terrifies them and exhilarates them all at once, because, you know, I don't think this person's used to feeling their heart. You know, they sense that there is so much darkness and so much fear there. They see that you are this kind of queen bee. They want to get to work and make it okay. But again, there are such contradicting energies here. This person's also bitter. You know, they see you as this threat to their sense of safety and well-being, because, you know, even though they left you, you know, they do think that was warranted because you were going to leave them. It was you that they didn't trust, even though that's for sure, you know, not a logical or rational conclusion for them to have reached. But the guidance for you is to step into real strength. And strength has come up in all the piles today in one way or another. And, you know, strength is really about engaging our compassionate hearts. It's not about aggression. It's not about being assertive. It's not about, you know, making demands. It's about loving in a compassionate way. And, you know, when we see people's darkness and we're able to feel compassion for them instead of judging them, that's when we're really stepping into strength and power. We've got Angel of Strength, Angel of Love here. And again, I'm not sure if this is a twin flame connection or not, but it does feel like there's something very insightful, wise and powerful to be learned from this connection. And we've got this Angel of Love and Angel of Strength, which for me definitely defines it as a very divine connection, a divinely guided connection, you know, with these kind of energies looking over you and nurturing this new way forward. For sure, with this rest and rejuvenation energy, you're being asked to go within. You're being asked to meditate and find that peace within yourself, because I feel like even though you're perceiving this person right now as being a bit of a cad, deep down, you know, that feeling, that sunny, warm feeling that you felt it too. And actually, I feel like you're also quite avoidant. You know, you step into relationships with a great deal of caution. You know, I don't think it's something that you take lightly. And I think you're very reluctant to let yourself go in love as well. And when you put two avoidant people together, you know, you're much more likely to encounter two runners. So I think both of you have misjudged one another. And I think both of you are struggling to kind of let go of the memory of that beautiful, caring, loving connection that seemed to exist before the fear kicked in for both of you. You know, overall, it feels like the message here is for you to, you know, step into love, strength and compassion, to take the time out to feel into your own truth. It's not clear if this person is coming back into your zone of awareness or even if you wanted them to. And actually, I think when you had this person in mind, that wasn't necessarily your intention. I think a lot of it is curiosity, because you haven't stopped thinking about this person. You still wonder where it went wrong, what you were meant to learn from that, if it was, you know, at all, I guess, purposeful. And I think the answer is that yes, it was. You know, there are lessons to be learned from this, and you're being asked to reflect on this person's actions from a place of love and compassion, and to see that this was just a wounded person trying to protect themselves, even though it appears, you know, that they deliberately hurt you or cut you off or closed you out. Now, I'm going to take this over to the, to the extended reading. We're going to take a deeper look at the messages from your person. I want to understand what their intentions are, what's coming next, and what's the guidance for you in terms of, you know, how to move forward with this. But certainly in the interim, I feel like there's something a bit about this connection that's quite pure and lovely that you are remembering too. And you're not really sure what that means. You know, I think the rational, logical part of your mind tells you that this person's bad news and you're barking up the wrong tree, and yet you can't quite seem to let it go. And in that respect, I really do think that you mirror one another. And this is why I thought of that twin flame thing, but it just feels like you've got two runners here. You've got two people that, even though you, the viewer, are very caring and very loving and compassionate, you are able to emotionally detach from a situation and override your emotions to make a more logical, rational decision. So when this person just ghosted you and disappeared and disrespected you, you know, it was easy for you to just turn your back on that and never look back. I don't think that you've been in this chasing energy or this longing energy, even though you were hurt and may have wanted it to work out. You know, your pride certainly inhibited you from exploring this, but I feel like your pride also stopped you from seeing the truth of the situation, just as your person did. And this is where that mirroring is happening, that deep down you are two very loving and wonderful, caring people that are both actually responding to this connection into life from a place of fear rather than from a place of truth and authenticity. So hopefully I'll see you over at the extended reading. You can find the link in the description box and in the comments by the timestamps. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for tapping the like button. Thank you for watching one of my commercials. That really does help to keep my channel going, and I appreciate it so much. Thank you, all of you, for being here. It really is a pleasure to share this with you. If you'd like to see more content like this, don't forget to tap the subscribe button, click the little bell icon next to it, and you will get an update every time I post. And whilst I'm not offering private readings at the moment, if you would like to be updated when I do open my diary, make sure that you check out my website and join the mailing list there, so you will be the first to know when I'm ready to take private bookings again. You can find my website at www.happysouls1111.com. Links are always in the description box below. Thank you so much, Pile 3. I'll see you next time.